Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, coming again today, you're very welcome. I trust you enjoyed my last video on Kim Wilde. Through her song Round and Round, with one of the lines, it was in my head then, but it's in my heart now. So we looked at the difference between those two statements. So I trust you found that one encouraging. We're going from there to Kim Smith, born in 1960. Now, a bit of context around the era. In the 1970s, we were starting to get into more fan-based music. Song acts like ABBA and Bay City Rollers really truly saw the power of the fan. And we're starting to see bigger arenas and bigger things happening. So the 80s was poised, I think, to really stretch many things. It was going to stretch arena sizes. It was going to stretch creativity and production. And it was also going to morph into new things. Bands like Duran Duran we're taking note of this hard rock, thinking, hey, you know what, we could do something a little bit different. Let's do a little bit more sophisticated pop. And so we started to see elements of keyboards becoming bigger and stronger. There was certainly the synth pop era where bands were very much synth based, but there was other bands where synthesizers pretty much were in the sound. And this is very much the case of Kim Wilde, who we're talking about today. She was absolutely massive in the early 1980s. In fact, she was the most charted British female in the 1980s. So if you think about the 1980s, one of the girls that you think about, you go to, is Kim Wilde. Now, Kim was born in West London in Chiswick. She was the daughter of Marty Wilde. Now, Marty Wilde was a musician himself, someone who was in England. He was very much encapsulating the American way, the American style of music in the UK, and doing pretty well for himself. Around the age of 20, Kim decided to study art and design, but she soon got signed because she had a bit of a voice. She's also got the looks as well. RAK Records said, you know what, please come and record with us. Now, Marty and Ricky, so Marty being the dad and Ricky, his brother, thought, you know what, we've got some ideas for some songs, because we've been inspired by such people such as Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, Kraftwerk, Gary Newman, and the Stranglers. And you know what, I reckon we've got some ideas here, Kim. Why don't you be the person that sings our songs? And she said, what a great idea that one was. In fact, it wasn't long before they had an absolutely massive worldwide hit. This got to number 2 in the UK, top 5 in Australia, Germany and France, and got to number 25 in the US. This would eventually come off a self-titled album in 1981. Kids in America. We're the kids in America. Whoa, let the music lay down. If you think about the 1980s, this is one of the songs that you think about. This song typified the 1980s. We've got all the elements of the 1980s production, MIDI guitars, big drums. Drums were big in the 1980s, by the way, and also the ever-present keyboard in there as well as just absolutely confident lead vocals by Kim as well. She did make the most of the MTV phenomenon, which was actually starting around this time as well. If you want to look at Kids in America now, everybody I think would know this song. Even if you're born this century, you think, oh yeah, I have heard this one before. We've actually got the official clip. We've got a live version, and we've also got an acoustic version as well. One of the things I love about Kim Wilde, she's got the balance being pop and really beefing up. The guitars feature quite prominently in her music, and I think I love the all-round sound of Kim Wilde's production. So Kids in America was very much a statement to the world, I think, about, hey, let's not underestimate the voice of kids, the voice of youth. Now, often they can be dismissed as nothing much, but you know what? There are quite a number of people in the world are young people, and they have the exuberance and passion that those of us of more, I suppose, more experienced years had once. And so we can get inspired by the visions and the exhilaration of young people as we consider our own dreams and how it impacts on our own dreams and where we were once in our lives in that very, very same way. Kids in America was a massive song for Kim Wilde, and it was it catapulted her into an international household name. So 3 versions of that one below. Chequered Love. Now, I love this song. Again, very, very incredibly produced song. Awesome keyboards in this song. I love the keyboards in this. I just love the way it just goes into all sorts of interesting places. Songwriting in the 1980s, particularly the music, was very, very creative. We had all sorts of things going on, and it was a chance to experiment and see where music could go. Absolutely. Chequered Love. It's all about, I don't know whether you're up, I don't know whether you're down, I don't know whether you're in, I don't know whether you're out, I don't know if you love me, I don't know if you don't love me. One day you're passionate and the next day you're not. What on earth is going on here? Chequered Love. As in CHEQUERED, Chequered Love. And I think one of the things we've got to appreciate about life and appreciate about relationships too is they're not always going to be rosy. I know, right? You just started one and you're thinking, what? The grass is green, the sky is blue, the birds are singing. They're not always going to be rosy. Life has an incredible way of actually just catching up with you eventually and having and thinking, well, what are you going to do with this bit? But it's chequered love. Now, the love is not chequered. The relationship is chequered because, as I've said a few times before, love is patient and kind. There's always more patience and kindness to go around. Of course, unless you're in an abusive relationship, that's different. But if it's a committed, kind of normal kind of relationship, love is patient and kind. Now, there was a movie a little while back called Parenthood. It had Steve Martin in it. And they compared life to 2 things. There's life on a merry-go-round. Just goes round and round and round and round, a little bit of up and down every now and then. Or life on a roller coaster. And they were reflecting on this very thing when they were watching their kids in a school production, and the kids knocked all the props over. I mean, how embarrassing. And they just sort of smiled, thought, you know what? We're on a roller coaster right now. It's exhilarating and exciting. So if the tricky times provide us always with learning opportunities, and I think this is the thing we need to take away from the troubled times, and that is, well, the checkered times, and that is, what can we learn from this? What lessons can we learn and apply going forward? As long as we give ourselves a chance to reflect, I think, on that, I think it's really, really important that we do actually reflect on the lessons we need to learn, because there are lessons that we need to learn. Well then, when we come back together after an awkward time, it can be a beautiful, beautiful thing. And one of the other advantages, I think, of staying the course here is that you get the advantage of a deeper relationship. And that's what we want. Now we can celebrate the fact that we can celebrate the fact we're in the middle of it right now, but we're still together. But we can also celebrate the fact that we've actually come out of it and we're still together. Life is not a merry-go-round. I mean, who'd want it to be a merry-go-round anyway? Just going round and round and round and round and round? No. We need the loops, we need the highs, the lows, we need the exhilaration of life. We really, really do. And I think one of the things that Kim loves about this particular story is that she enjoys that as well. In fact, the song is quite fast-paced but chaotic, really matching the whole concept of Checkered Love, but it's also victorious at the same time. And I think if we can actually get rid of the initial expectations of our partner, get rid of the fact that relationships are always going to be perfect, because they're not always going to be perfect. In fact, a client of mine, he'd been married for about 60 years, and I asked him the secret, and he said, there's always got to be ups and downs. It's almost an expectation of his that there will be ups and downs. If there's not, well, something's wrong. Interesting way of looking at it. Instead of like sort of putting this thing off in the distance, saying, I'm not going to look at that thing, embracing it and realizing that change is part of life. Because we need to change, you know. We once we're a baby, well, we're not babies anymore. We're now adults, and you know that our bodies have changed over those years. And you know, we want to be able to experience change and everything that change brings. And so Checkered Love, I think, provides us with an opportunity to just consider that again. And if you're in the middle of being checkered right now, and it's a good relationship, stay the course, come out the other side. So, after the self-titled album, Kim Wilde was absolutely massive. She was huge, this girl, so they're all waiting to see what's going to happen next. And so 1982, out came the album Select. A couple of songs off this one, we got a very similar theme going here, and going on from the last, I suppose, theme of Checkered Love. Well, let's look at Checkered Life. We'll look at Checkered Life as for, you know, someone who's had to go off for a posting overseas and he doesn't come back. The song Cambodia was absolutely massive for Kim Wilde, and it's very much a tragic love song. So we've got the official clip of that one below. The music is very mysterious, and again, very, very well produced indeed. Just captures the story so well. Then we got View from a Bridge. Now, normally, what do you associate with a view from a bridge? If you're actually standing, if someone's standing on a bridge and they're looking out from a bridge, normally something will happen next. And this is what this song is all about, because she actually sees her partner with somebody else in the end, so she can't deal with that. So very much a tragedy, View from a Bridge. But again, a very, very cleverly produced song, this one indeed. That got to #1 in Germany and top 10 in Australia, so we've got a studio version of that one below. 1983, so we got an album in 81, 82 and 83, Catch as Catch Can, and one of the songs that became well known off that one was Love Blonde. 1984, she moved to MCA Records, Tears and Dares got released. And then in 1986, Another Step was released, and Kim Wilde was, I think, trying to reinvent herself, and she did that really, really well with this album. And You Keep Me Hanging On, which is a old Motown classic but beefed up into the 1980s, was an absolutely monster hit for her. It got to #2 in the UK and #1 in the USA, Australia and Canada. So a massive song for her. And I think another song that really, really typifies for me one of these songs of the 1980s. As far as, you know, if you think about a 1980s sound, this is absolutely it. I think technology had advanced to a bit of an extent that we, you know, we're able to start to do songs like these ones. And You Keep Me Hanging On was an absolutely massive song for Kim, and she sang it so well. So we've got a studio clip of that one before. Move on to 1988, the album Closed. Now, this was a massive album again for Kim Wilde. In fact, she got open for the Michael Jackson Bad tour. That's how significant this girl was. And we got the song You Came. We got the official clip of that one below. 8 months in the UK charts, pretty big. So, Kim Wilde, the most charted British female in the 1980s. She had 17 UK top 40 singles, and between 1981 and 2025 there's been 15 studio albums, so she's had quite a big career, this girl. 1 live album, 5 compilation albums, 66 singles, 60 music videos, estimated to have sold around 2.1 million albums. She's been nominated 6 times for Billboard Music Awards, and she actually has won 1 Brit Award, so she well and truly has contributed to music over her career. So the links to those 8 clips, 8 clips are in the description below. And I've also included my last video from Kim Wilde, so if you want to recap on her, feel free. Well, as we continue through the Ks in this series, and you may have noticed that I have started another series called Roams, and I'm putting about one of them up a week. So if you want to look at something a bit different, particularly around my beautiful Adelaide, as I work through the beautiful Adelaide beaches at the moment, feel free to look at them. I quite enjoy those walks, I must admit. But we are continuing also with life reflections through music, and we're going to go on to King next time. So until then, I'll catch you around.